Good day, everybody. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp. BetterHelp. Now, everybody knows, as watches this show, that I've been through a lot of stuff, paralyzed, years in therapy. And when I talk about therapy, I'm talking about physical and mental therapy. So I am a big believer in the benefits of therapy. And I'd like to urge everybody to consider using therapy in your life. It will make a positive, purposeful, powerful, beneficial difference for you. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, I would urge you to give BetterHelp a try. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire, you get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. It is really, I believe, a great opportunity if you're considering using therapy. And I urge people, use therapy. So let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. That's betterhelp.com, BetterHelp.com/joy of living. Do it today and you'll get 10% off your first month. Visit betterhelp.com. That's BetterHelp.com/joy of living. You'll thank me. And I know you like thanking me. Go to betterhelp.com/joy of living. Do it now. In the world. And the third fundamental is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. A simple example. Right now, this show is carried throughout the entire world. Hundreds of thousands of people listening. And I always urge, share this show with 5 people. 5 people, that's it. That way we'll touch 1.5 million people. And I thank you so much for always urging your family and friends to come and join the show. Every week we're joined by another 25, 30,000 people. God willing, we'll be over 500,000 in the next few months. But the point is that what you want to do is if you ask anybody about the internet and you ask them, what does www stand for? And very much it has to do with the internet. Factually speaking, they're correct. But in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, www stands for what a wonderful world. And what is a word, right? WHATA. Now, of course, a tip of the hat and a thank you to Louis Armstrong Satchmo for enabling that song to go viral. What a wonderful world. When you hear even the opening bars of that song, what do you do right away? You can't help it. You smile. Now, smile is one of the most important words you can ever internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life, because smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Yeah, seeing miracles in life every day. Now, I got to tell you, I'm back to speaking to people in person, no mask, lots of energy and hugging. I spoke recently with 1,172 people, and it was just great. And I'm telling you the story about Barry Shore and talking about seeing miracles in life every day. And some people raise their hand and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been out for hours, right? I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. You have water to drink, you have food to eat, you have a place to sleep, you have family, you have friends. Every single one of those is a miracle. And what's the proof? Simplest proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're watching, you're listening, you didn't. Therefore, you have an obligation to live life to the full. So I want to tell you a quick story. It's about me. Imagine, if you can, standing up in the morning, hale and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, and that evening being in the hospital totally, completely paralyzed, not from an automobile accident, not a spinal injury, a rare disease which I had never heard of the day before, took over my body and caused me to be a quadriplegic. It means nothing in my body moved, my neck down. I could only communicate by blinking my eyes. I was 144 days in the hospital, 2 years in a hospital bed in my own home. I couldn't turn over by myself. I was 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs, my hips, and my ankles. That was progress. Today, thank God, I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a tripod, not a biped. I can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. And I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, all because of this one word. Smile. But I got to tell you quickly, my 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago. She says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile S-M-I-E-L? I thought about smile. Smile sounds the same. Why not? I asked her how come. Because she said, then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of an 8-year-old. But what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. Now, CREATE is a remarkably important acronym that stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. That's what we're going to experience today. Rethinking. It's called a shift in perspective. Now, I've been working with people for more than 42 years. And I can tell you, 97.2% of all the people I work with, when I first talk about shift perspective, they drop the F in shift and the other stuff happens. You got to be effing careful with your Fs. You want to shift your perspective just a little bit. And the result will be the internalization of the 6 most important words you could ever utilize in your life. They are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond in any given situation will determine the course of your life and the trajectory. Now, I got to mention, before we bring on wonderful Richie, I do use a lot of 4-letter words. I even use the 4-letter FU word, and I do it for the shock value, and it's fun. Now, of course, the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, free, gift, pray, play, swim. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, yes. FU, capital N, capital N. Now, right away, some people say, hey, Barry Shore, fun's only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world. We're the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. So after the show, when you see your family and friends, I want you to have a twinkle in your eye, a smile on your face, when listening, point your finger and say, F you, everybody. But remember to add right away capital N, capital N. Say, where'd you get that? I listen to Barry Shore on the joy of living. He wants to teach the world to F you. Capital N, capital N will enable you to open up and talk about what we discussed on the show today. So before we bring on amazing, wonderful Richie Kendall, I want to urge everybody to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day from now and the rest of your life, because it will make you happier, healthier, and wealthier. These 2 words are thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness. Now imagine you walk into your coffee shop, order a fancy latte, you sit down, somebody brings it to you, say thank you. You walk in the coffee shop, you order a fancy latte, a couple of minutes ago, nobody brings you, go to the counter, I'm sorry, we forgot, we're busy. Sat down, a couple more minutes, somebody brings you, you still say thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining out, somebody holds the door open for you. You say thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining, somebody slams the door on you. You say, thank you. You're in traffic, you're late for an appointment, somebody cuts you off. You say, thank you. You get up in the middle of the night and you stub your toe and it hurts. You say, thank you. To harmonize and nurture kindness. Kindness is a wonderful word that stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. I can't think of anybody that inspires noble deeds more than my dear friend, wonderful Richie. Richie, would you please say hello to 362,819 people around the world?
Well, no one can do it like you, Barry, but I want to extend a sincere hello and thank you and gratitude to this wonderful community.
Woo! And wait till you hear more about Richie. Look, first of all, if you're watching, look at that beatific smile. And if you're not watching, I'm telling you, it's a beatific smile. If I start reading to you all the stuff that Richie has accomplished thus far in his short life, and by the way, prime amongst them are happily married and a wonderful son, newborn. So that's the best. In addition to all that, Richie is not just a visionary, he's making things happen. See, it's one thing to have a vision, sit on the top of a mountain and think about it. It's another to roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty and make things happen. He's the business leader, and he's a storyteller, as you'll hear in just a little bit. He's currently the co-founder and the chief experience officer of Good World. Good World is a it's not just a company, it's a movement that's making things happen in a world that's powered by generosity, collaboration, and compassion, where we call what we call corporate social responsibility. So, and this is his whole being is dedicated to making life better, much like Barry Shore. That's why he and I get along and why I invited him and he accepted to be on the show today. So we're going to discuss three very large ideas and we're going to bring them into real world experience. We're going to talk about philanthropy. We're going to discuss wisdom. We're going to discuss imagination. So without further ado, let's just jump right in because this is where we're joining the hip. What is your take, wonderful Richie, on this whole process of philanthropy, where it is today and where you see it moving over the next few years? I don't mean decades from now. I mean in the next 3, 5, maximum 8 years.
It's such an interesting question because philanthropy has its own historical roots, and it goes back many hundreds of years. If you'd like to tell that whole story, but what I hope to see with philanthropy is that it really gets back to what we would say is the definition of philanthropy: that love of humanity. And ultimately, it's that blossoming, thriving humanity that we all want to see that represents the real core and soul of what a true philanthropy looks like. And so, as you see it changing over the next few years, I really want to see a more inclusive philanthropy that's more democratized, that involves more people, that isn't just about sort of those high level big givers, and is more about people who maybe would never have thought of themselves as a philanthropist, but getting involved in the nonprofit community and for purpose community in really meaningful and creative ways. So, in a broad stroke, we want to see a bigger tent for philanthropy that is much more plugged into some of the seamless sort of user experiences and amazing technologies that are available at our fingertips.
So let's unpack a few things. And I'm going to make mention again that we have a worldwide audience. And as much of our audience lives outside the United States of America as inside. I'm going to make two definitive statements. One is that the United States of America is the leading country in the world by far in terms of giving, both of money and time. Money is the engine. Time is an important aspect of it. But there's no country that even comes close to the United States of America. Some European countries are, but I can tell you that since I've lived in the Orient and I've traveled all over the world a couple of times, that there is no, how should we say it, feeling upon the individual, incumbent upon the individual to say, I need to give. I want to give, much like there is in the United States. And now I'm going to layer in something else, which is that 56%, and I'll say it like this, only 56% of adults in the United States of America give more than $400 a year. That means 44% don't give anything, which is a large number in a country of 300 plus million people. So I love what you're saying about the democratization of giving. And let's talk about this seamless idea, because I think those are the two aspects that, well, let's say frictionless and seamless giving seem to be the way of enabling people to come into this huge tent. So tell me some of the things that you're doing with your world, because you're out there every day working with large organizations that want to do the right thing. Tell us some concrete things that are happening right now.
Yeah, would be glad to. I'll say that we got our start at Good World with a couple of quite innovative tools. One that enabled people to type #donate directly into a comment field on social media to make an instant donation. And we were also the first mover to enable people to round up their everyday purchases for causes. So when we say seamless, integrated giving, these are the types of things that we're talking about. But we did not stop there. we have a very big, beautiful vision for philanthropy. And so where we've taken the platform over the last 5-7 years is from these innovative tools at the sort of point of sale or within a social media environment, and built an all-in-one social impact operating system of sorts, where nonprofits have the 360 tools that they need to raise money, from peer-to-peer style fundraising to donation pages to events and ticketing, auctions, text to give, all of those tools that they need in the tool belt to raise money from a younger and younger generation. But really where we've expanded and where we're very excited about this new possibility for philanthropy is in this convergence of the nonprofit and for-purpose space. So companies, influencers that believe in making a better world, that have often the resources or the communities to mobilize for different causes. So when I say the convergence, it's a big word, but what am I talking about? I'm talking about the bringing together of different ecosystems. A ecosystem of the nonprofit world, which is all about boots on the ground, getting resources to people who need it most, and then a world that is more focused on, let's say, employment, human resources, bringing products and services to bear inside of a free market. Well, what happens when you bring those two ecosystems together is you can create a whole lot of impact. So what are some examples of bringing two ecosystems together for a better world? I have one example that we just ran last week. We ran a pilot concept, which was a contest online auction, where the top 5 bidders on these beautiful, beautiful donated jewelry pieces all got shipped that jewelry, where 100% of the funds went to building schools in Central America. So what you're seeing there is this amazing sort of purpose-driven experience that is fueled on donated goods from corporations that would have otherwise been sort of put into a layaway or a storage locker. So it's a really cool kind of recycling way of bringing value, commerce, beautiful items to bear for a once-in-a-lifetime experience. That's one example. I'm going to give you one other example. We realized as the sort of crypto decentralized money system started coming into the conversation that there will be very unique ways to distribute funds to individuals in a participatory experience. What do I mean by that? Well, what would happen if a large corporation that typically donates, maybe hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars a year, instead of just cutting large checks to a handful of organizations, they instead handed out those dollars to their employees, to their customers, to their stakeholders, and gave those people the power to distribute and choose where that money goes. And what you get is a mutually reinforcing cycle of purpose, because the company is now better understanding their stakeholders' values, and the stakeholders are feeling empowered to create the world that they want to see. So now you have employers working directly with customers and employees on making the world a better place with dollars that they were already distributing, but in a more, top-down type of way.
So let me ask you, based on what you just said, let's take this corporation, which is thinking about writing a check for $1 million to XYZ, 1 or 2, 3 large groups. And instead, they have 10,000 employees. So they give each employee $100 and say, here, you decide where this money goes. Is that what you're talking about?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
That makes me tingle, because now each employee becomes, like you say, a philanthropist. And instead of saying it's $100, maybe it's $200, $300, whatever the number is. But now, or even giving it to their customers, say, here, you're our top 100 customers, you each get $10,000. You decide where the money goes. Wow.
What a better gift for the holidays or Giving
Oh,
Tuesday or your birthday, right? Now with platforms and tools and software, we can automate these gifts to get sent on people's birthdays with a nice schedule. So it's a great sort of micro recurring program that you can build right into the DNA of your company.
and it makes the whole company feel that much more open and giving and generous. All right, now speaking of generous and open and giving, we have sponsors that love us, and we urge you to patronize them because we wouldn't have them on unless they were great sponsors. So we're going to have a quick break. We're going to come back with more Richie because he's just so energizing. We love him. So don't go away. We're right back with this brief message. Good day, everybody. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp. Now, everybody knows, that watches this show, that I've been through a lot of stuff, paralyzed, years in therapy. And when I talk about therapy, I'm talking about physical and mental therapy. So I am a big believer in the benefits of therapy. And I'd like to urge everybody to consider using therapy in your life. It will make a positive, purposeful, powerful, beneficial difference for you. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, I would urge you to give BetterHelp a try. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire, you get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. It is really, I believe, a great opportunity if you're considering using therapy. And I urge people, use therapy. So let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. That's betterhelp.com, BetterHelp.com/joy of living. Do it today and you'll get 10% off your first month. Visit betterhelp.com. That's BetterHelp.com/joy of living. You'll thank me. And I know you like thanking me. Go to betterhelp.com/joy of living. Do it now. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. Our cup runneth over with good. And his name of the amazing being, Richie Kendall. He is the co-founder and the chief experience officer of Good World. Good World is the tip of the spear that's making a difference in the world, especially in the world of philanthropy, the world of giving, the world of touching other human beings. We just mentioned before the break about this remarkable, great idea of corporations, instead of just writing a check and say, okay, that's it, we check that box, done. Now empower either the employees or their customers or both and say, here's some money. Give to the people that you really care about. And what an amazing relationship that creates and a bond between, we'll call it the C-suite and the regular workers, the C-suite and the customers. And now you're dealing in a much more fluid, integrated system, like you said, democratization, and all based on love of humanity. So let's stay in the world of philanthropy just a little bit more. And by the way, one of the reasons that Richie and I are together in these things because people are beginning to know about what I'm building with Einstein Cares, which has a similar vibe to it, is based on love of humanity, and it's about companies saying we're willing to allocate a small percentage to buyers that come and use our product or service, and every time that happens, we'll give cash back to the buyer, and we'll give cash, the equal amount that you gave to the buyer's charity of choice. Hello. Everybody wins. And there's that great coming together of feeling of, wow, we are in this all together, and creating a bigger bond that never could have happened except through this wonderful mechanism called giving. Because giving is the glue that makes everything happen. And as I said, the genius of the United States is we're a giving country, we're a giving people. So let's go deeper, if we can, into this, wonderful Richie, and discuss philanthropy, and let's weave it in to wisdom, because I think that's what you're talking about. You're talking about, let's say, businesses being wise enough, I don't mean smart and calculating, but wise enough to understand philanthropy as part of their very DNA. So speak to that, if you'd be so kind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I might even extend the wisdom conversation outside the corporate setting, because we're in a really unique point in the history of humanity where wisdom is more important than ever. So,
Very good.
so yeah, in terms of wisdom as it relates to philanthropy, wouldn't you say it's wise to give someone $1 to empower them to pay it forward? Because by giving someone something, that creates an intrinsic momentum, right? Whenever I'm given something maybe unexpected, it motivates me to be more generous. So there's no better way to move forward corporate social responsibility or corporate philanthropy than to give first. We often think of corporate giving as maybe like a corporate matching program, where if you give some money to a charity, then you send in your receipt and that corporation will match those dollars 6 months later. Why not just give your employees some dollars and mobilize them to go make a difference in the world in real time? It's dramatically more wise and effective to move money in that flow than it is to do things the quote unquote old way. So that's sort of the wisdom. Now, in terms of the broader view of wisdom, we are at a point as a collective where we are being introduced to some of the most godlike powers we have ever had access to, with artificial intelligence, software that is ubiquitous, with energy and this sort of grassroots ability to mobilize people all at once, with peer-to-peer style communications where you can pretty much send a message to anybody in the world through a social media platform and get a response. And these are unprecedented times, and it is really incumbent upon us as individuals to bring the prudence and wisdom of the gods if we're going to have these godlike powers. Because if we don't, it's not going to be it's not going to help humanity in our next phase.
So let's unpack this and speak about two aspects of these remarkable powers that are existing at this very moment. So one of the name of this podcast is called The Joy of Living, not the joy of living, the joy of living. Now, joy is a wonderful acronym that stands for Journey of You. So let's talk about the journey of you, the individual, in these, as you say, unprecedented times, where we're moving in a direction that the new situations, again, to use common terms, chat GBT, which may or may not even exist in 3 years because it may be leapfrogged by other things, or artificial intelligence. These are ideas that have been thought about by people for decades, and people wrote about them in the 50s and 60s. That's 1950s and 60s, or Jules Verne's in the 1880s, and thinking about other worlds and things like that. I want to mention also something that it's not talked about enough. It's called CRISPR, which is the gene splitting possibilities that we have to rid ourselves of disease. In other words, we're not only able to use tools to communicate one to another. And by the way, most of the time at the moment, and this is just the nature of life, it's used for quotation marks, better selling. We can, you can become this is it, gold mines or gold rush, make money, become rich. Okay, that's true. But where we want to move beyond that in this show right now and discuss how do we, in your thoughts of wisdom, how do we integrate these, like you said, godlike powers so that AI meets HI. AI is called artificial intelligence. HI calls human intelligence. How do HI and AI live harmoniously? I think that may be one of the definitions of wisdom, is how you create harmony between the human intelligence and the artificial intelligence. What would you say to that, wonderful Richie?
It's such a powerful frame, Barry, and I appreciate you bringing me that question, because what it all comes down to is what's inside us. It's not about a playbook. It's not about what we can do tactically to make sure that AI supports human needs. No, it's what is the desire and motivation inside you and inside us as a collective family. What world do we want to see? And we have to imagine it together. If we just think about what the tactics are going to look like, then we'll be bogged down in a future we cannot agree about. But if we go internally and we think about who we are in our core, what really, really matters to us, is it our families? Is it our neighborhoods? Is it the preservation of the natural world? Is it being able to enjoy quality time together, to get quality rest, to create, to dance, to sing, to read? These are just some of the things we need to put our focus on in order to understand how some of the technologies can support and promote. If we keep our focus on what matters, I think Lynn Twist said this, what you appreciate appreciates. So it's really about finding out who we are more than it is thinking about how all the technology works.
Okay, I want to unpack this because you're so articulate and so clear. You're right. If people continue to focus on the tactics that are involved in the utilization of these tools, well, just like instead of a pickaxe, so it's a jackhammer, and I'm in the gold fields in California in the 1850s. It's okay, I can do it faster, better, and cheaper, but what is the result? Now, I'll mention to you, I read a good article, I think it was a good article, long, from Mark Andreessen, one of the famous venture capitalists in the world, Andreessen and Horowitz, and his take on ChatGPT, AI. He wrote that, and I'm condensing, 30 pages into a couple of words. This is the greatest evolution in the history of mankind since, as he said, since the revelation of God at Mount Sinai. To use an idea. In other words, the ability to bring forth in the human being that, yes, you are powerful when you combine it with wisdom, intent, that's what you're saying, and the ability to look at humanity and say, what can we do together? If it becomes, like you said, just another tactical tool to mine more wealth in the sense of money, well, no offense, doesn't help anybody. Okay, yeah, we might have a better air conditioning system. Great. But does that help us learn more? Does that increase wisdom? And this is why what you're discussing here is we begin with philanthropy, which is not the giving of money. It's the creation of a bond. That's why I love what you said about, let's say, a corporate structure giving out $1 million to many people, diffusing that democratization, and now let them become givers. And like you said, that creates this intrinsic momentum. Wow, isn't that great? I love that line. We got to talk about that more often. Wonderful, Richie.
I'm here for it.
Intrinsic momentum. And now combining it with wisdom, the eternal wisdom of the human being touching our very being, this is what's going to allow us to utilize these tools, not just on the tactical level and the practical level, but in the spiritual. Let's talk about spiritual things for the moment, because oftentimes people, when they talk about business, say, well, it's just, let's talk about business, not that spiritual stuff. There is no business without the spirit. Am I correct?
You are correct.
I mean,
everything in the manifest world, every form, every structure, every label, everything that you see comes from an invisible blueprint. And that invisible blueprint is the spirit. It's the soul. Everything that happens in your life, everything that you see for yourself that happens when you grow older, is the result, most likely, of thoughts that you're having, invisible thoughts, invisible ideas that you're having, that you are architecting for yourself. And often we get those ideas and we create those thoughts from a culture that we grow up in or things that we see. And we're now living in a world where there are millions of reference points for us that are being shoved into our feeds that are creating sort of noise that we may get confused and disoriented by, right? You may be scrolling your social media channel and feeling not good about yourself because you're seeing the way your friends are living or peers are living or super successful people are living. And that is all noise. Because if you just turn back into yourself and you start to use your imagination and use that power within your own spirit to imagine a better life for yourself, for your family, for your neighbors, for your communities, for the world, that is the only way to create that world for yourself, is to start in the spirit, in the invisible space.
So the spiritual is not just something part of, from what you're saying, is that it's an essential foundational piece.
It is the cause. So anything that happens in our lives, any event, is an effect of a cause. And the cause comes from the invisible blueprint of all of our collective decisions or individual decisions.
So if I may unpack some of this for, again, worldwide audience, in my humble opinion, most everybody in the world outside the United States of America wants to come to the United States of America.
Yes.
Because here is not just opportunity to grow business-wise, it's the opportunity to do what Richie is talking about, to grow spiritually, to grow emotionally, because everything else out there is, most of the time, is controlled by governments. There's no place like the United States of America, despite what's happening right now and the divisions in the country and such. These will heal. But our DNA is one of growth oriented. And as you say, we can reduce the noise, if not eliminate it even. And part of that is what Charlie Munger talks about. Charlie Munger is the partner of Warren Buffett. So together they built the great empire that they both run, and they do it with very few people because they use a spiritual component to their business. They understand the business is business. The U comes before the I. When you're in service to the you, other people, the I takes care of it. It has to be, it's a law. And Charlie Munger mentioned that greed is not what drives the world. Envy is what's driving the world crazy. And I think that's exactly what you talked about. The noise, looking at this, look what this one had, and not recognizing or failing to recognize, look how much I have. I have food to eat. I have a place to sleep. I have family. I have friends. I have water to drink. I mean, thank God most of the world is like that. There's still a billion people that need potable water. We know that. There's a billion people that need help with food. We know that. That means that 7 billion people are living well enough. So we want to reduce the noise. And I think what you're helping us with is that this integration of wisdom, spirit, philanthropy, love of humanity, God willing, will enable us, especially younger people, by the way. I'm 74 chronologically. I think younger people have they've been growing up with it. Now, your son, who's only not even a year.
Almost 3 months old. Yeah.
He's 3 months old. So he's not going to be just a digital native. He'll be an AI native. Yeah. The good news is that you and your wife are giving him also the HI, the human intelligence, to be able to know how to, God willing, utilize and leverage the AI for the benefit of the world. Again, we want to think beyond self. Am I correct?
Beyond self is the self.
Woo!
The world that you inhabit is the world inside you. The universe around you is a mirror of you. And to the extent that you enrich others, you enrich yourself. To the extent you enrich yourself with quality relationships is to the extent that you enrich others with the quality of your relationship. So there is it's not a new ethos, it's an ancient ethos that this country, other nations at this moment can get in tune with to start healing. And if we can start healing, we can start using these amazing tools as an exoskeleton glove underneath to lift us up.
I love this. If we can start feeling, I wrote this down. If we can start feeling, we can start healing. And the greater healing we do for self reflects in the world. Yes. Now, on that note, we're going to come right back after a brief message from these wonderful sponsors that we urge you to use their products and services, because otherwise we wouldn't have them here. We'll be right back. Don't go away. There's more Richie on the other side of this commercial. Good day, everybody. Oh, something special for you. Amazing. Sometimes a great notion comes into the world and causes a shift that benefits everyone. Isn't that wonderful? Everyone benefits. This time it's called Einstein Cares. That's right, like Albert Einstein. EinsteinCares.com. EinsteinCares. EinsteinCares.com. Go there and sign up to be aware of when the site launches. Because guess what this site is all about? Its mission is to give $1 billion to charity without costing any giver a penny. Okay, I'm going to say it again. The mission is to give $1 billion to charity without costing any giver a penny. And it's based upon something everybody loves to do. Shop, have fun, give money at no cost. Go to EinsteinCares.com. That's EinsteinCares.com and register now so that when the site launches, you will be amongst the first to know about it. So you can shop, earn money, and give money at no cost. What a wonderful world to even be thinking about these things. EinsteinCares.com. Do it today. You'll thank me, and you know you love thanking me. Best wishes. Bye now. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking, so I was looking for and finding the good. We found good. We got Richie Kendall. We're talking about philanthropy. We're talking about wisdom. We're talking about healing and feeling and utilizing all of the wonderful aspects of life, especially this moment with ChatGPT, AI, with CRISPR, with all of the tools that are available to us, not to just be tactical, but to be spiritual, because everything comes from the spirit. I'm going to make mention of something to you that you and I have spoken about before, and I'd like you to wax eloquent on it because I think it's fascinating. The name of our country, this nation, is the United States of America. There are many nations in the world. Now, the greatest nation in the world, in my humble opinion, is imagination. That's the great nation, because with it, there are no barriers, there are no limits. So I'd like you to speak to this, not just idea, this passion that you have and I have and the people we associate with for and with imagination.
Yes, it would be an honor. I see imagination as the the life force. I mean, what causes the seed of an oak tree to become the oak? It's not a little brain, but there is quite an imagination embedded in nature. Look all around you. We come from nature, we are nature. And there are almost endless imaginings on just this planet. Who knows what's beyond this planet? If you really go out and look at the intricacy and the beauty all around you in the horizon, but also in the little details, you can see that there is almost an infinite depth of beauty there and imagination there. You as an individual can tap into that because you are it. It comprises you. Every cell in your body, every vein, every muscle, every bone is unimaginably imaginative. Take that power and imagine a life for yourself. Don't limit yourself. Don't think about all of this, all the things wrong in the world. No, imagine something that feels right and put all of your concentration on that. And you will see that bit by bit come into being. Again, what you appreciate appreciates, and imagination is the blueprint of your life. So if you imagine a world of love, support, laughter, that's the life you will have if that is where you keep your focus. So, imagination, as you said, Barry, is incredibly powerful, and it's one of the most important binding forces, and we're at a stage as a collective where we need to start collectively imagining a better future for ourselves, and that's the only way we will create it.
So again, one of the reasons I am so honored and humbled that Richie is here with us today is because he doesn't just speak this way. He acts this way. He lives this way. And we are together. I was taught something by the head football coach of Ohio State. So again, people outside the United States, you have to look it up. Ohio State's a great college in the United States of America, a great football team. And the coach was very famous. He taught all his players something called yaw-yaw. Yaw-yaw is Y-A-W, Y-A-W. People say, what? What is that? Because it stands for you are who you associate with. So as Richie is saying, and I'm unpacking this, if you imagine yourself, let's say your circumstances are not exactly what you think they want to be or you want them to be, use your imagination to think of what you want. Who are the people you want to be associated with? You become one of them. In other words, you become loving, wise, giving, heartfelt, feeling, healthy, happy, holy. Guess what happens? By definition, it's a law. You will attract these people. So just like Richie and I and our extended yaw-yaws, We're the tip of the spear. It only takes 2% of humanity, 2%, that's it, to make a difference, to create that shift in perspective. We only have a few more minutes left. I'm sorry to say, but I'm happy to say, because I'm going to ask you 3 quick questions. Are you ready, wonderful Richie, for 3 questions?
Let's go.
Okay. First question is, will you come back again?
The answer is yes.
Woo! Thank you. Number 2, and you only have 80 seconds to answer this, dear sir. 80 seconds. What is your most fervent desire?
My most fervent desire is to exude and create a life full of love and legacy, that when people come into it that I care about, they feel it. That the whole focus of the lives that I'm able to touch and the people that I'm able to celebrate and dance with, they feel that almost eternal, unbreakable love and camaraderie. That's my most fervent desire.
I'm so touched because I can feel it. We're on what they call a Zoom call, whatever these things are. And I can feel that. And I think the people who are watching or even listening can feel that energy. It's not just words coming out. Touched, again, all around the world, because there are no limits. There are no barriers to this tsunami of goodness that Richie is pouring forth here today. And therefore, the third question is, may I give you a hug in front of 365,819 people around the world after I tell you what HUG stands for. Ready? HUG stands for heartfelt, unlimited giving. Are you ready, sir? The count of 3.
You've been holding out for an hour. Let's do this.
3. And you're listening to The Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore, and our amazing guest, Richie Kendall. Remember, this show is not about Richie, great guy that he is, or even Barry Shore, wonderful fellow. It's about you. Y-O-U. You becoming the best you possible. It's not about inspiration, which is nice, but, that goes away after a day or two. It's not about information. There's plenty of information out there. It's about transformation. That is what Richie's been talking about today, transforming yourself. And the result is you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier in every sense of the word. Use the 3 fundamentals of life. Your life has purpose. You lead a purpose-driven life. Number 2 happens. You go mad. You make a difference in the world. Number 3 is to unlock the power and the sequence of everyday words and terms, such as WWW. What a wonderful world. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day. As my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, just like Richie says. Create it. It's your imagination. It's real. Causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. It's for your thoughts that make the difference. And when you do that, you'll have a shift in your perspective. Keep that F in place so the other stuff happens. Shift your perspective, and then you'll be able to internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words that you can ever learn. And these are choice. Choice, as Richie says, not chance, determines your destiny. Use 4-letter words. Remember, we live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Our 4-letter words are love, life, hope, free, give, pray, play, swim, and tell the world to F you. Capital N, capital N. Where'd you get that? I said, Barry Shore wants to teach the world to F you, capital N, capital N. Share this with 5 people. So we'll touch 1.5 million lives. Everything you want to know about Richie and all the stuff that he's doing, just go to my website, barryshore.com. It's all there, barryshore.com. And of course, use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day from now and the rest of your life. Because if you do, it will benefit you, your family, your friends, and all living beings. And these 2 words are thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Therefore, be kind always. Keep inspiring noble deeds. And our blessing from Richie and Barry is go forth. Live exuberantly. Spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. go mad, go make a difference. Wonderful Richie, don't go away.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.